Brian Nisbet's life reads like an action movie. Robberies, car chases, and much more. But he then hit a point where it all turned around. He joins us today on Turning Point to tell us all. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Now, reading your story, it sounds like the stuff of movies. At what point did you decide that the exciting life was for you?
Well, I found personally, school years were extremely painful. Like, the schoolyard can be a terrible place. And that's where I started to feel the crush of things, late in public school and then early in high school. And I got drunk when I was about 13 years old. And my mother took that as like a warning sign. And I was only 13 and I got drunk at a wedding. And my brother-in-law was a police officer. And so my mom had said, get a hold of him. And I pushed him through a plate glass window when he restrained me. And he
At
then—
13?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he threw me down a flight of stairs. And my mother sort of thought, I really got to watch this kid. So that was just one incident, but it was almost like a seed was planted, because I found that when I did get drunk that time, I found it a great panacea. Like, it helped the pain that I was in on the inside. And so then again, when I went to high school, about the age of, around the age of 14, I got involved with a girl and became sexually active at 14 years of age. And that went really badly. We got caught. Her parents made us break up. I thought I was in love, and actually took a knife against the wall. I wanted to kill myself at one point. I wanted her back so bad.
Wow.
But it was, you're young and you're just mixed up.
But then in your adult life, I mean, it gets even worse. I mean, I say jokingly that it was exciting, but it's not the stuff. I mean,
No.
Guns, wanting to do robberies. How did you get that bad?
Early in high school, I went to a guy's house one day, and this is what really sort of launched it off was we stood around a table with several bottles of hard liquor, and I was the smallest guy in the room, and it was who could drink until you passed. You had to drink until you passed out at this card table. So within about 20 minutes, everybody's on the floor except me, and the smallest guy in the room, and I'm just drinking all this hard liquor. And we thought we'd pull a trick or a stunt. And one of them took me upstairs and said, I've got a shotgun. It's used to train dogs. It's got special blanks in it. And he gave me the rifle and said, let's go put somebody against the wall and put a big scare into him. So they handed me the shotgun, and we were all drunk, and I went downstairs and put one of my best friends against the wall. He was screaming in fear. And I put a round into the chamber, and at the very last second, I thought, what if it's not a blank? So I just pulled it slightly to the side, and I shot at him, and I blew a hole through the wall, and it literally caught part of his shirt. And it would have killed him. I would have cut him in half. And
wow.
So that sort of started a slide. And unfortunately, all the talk went out of this crazy stunt that I'd done, and I was amazed how much attention it got me. I was now this crazy guy that would get drunk and shoot at people. And
so I've got about less than 2 minutes left, and I'm really keen to hear how Jesus got a hold of you.
I was a musician as well, so I played in rock bands, and I was on the road, and at times with my dad playing even at times. But the drugs pulled me away from my music and sunk me. It literally sunk me. So one night I listened to a band, and they were old friends of mine. But I had done a hit. I had been shooting meth and drinking alcohol and popping pills. And so some friends came up to me and said, we always wanted you to be our drummer if you could only get your life together. And I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I was like, you'd really take me into this band? And I was determined to get free of drugs. And so I bought a set of drums and locked myself in a room. And I got off of all the hard drugs. One of my friends was a junkie. He had gotten saved. And the radical change in his life, I never got over what I saw. It was drastic. And he was a nasty, nasty guy. I couldn't believe I saw Jesus in him. So eventually, when I got free of drugs, I still didn't come to the Lord. I I got into this band. We went out making insane amounts of money, driving around in a bus, Cadillacs. I had cars. And I was shocked that now I was almost clean of drugs. And I had lots of money, and I had this huge emptiness inside. I thought if I could just get my life a handle on it, I'd be good. But I was desperate. I was still hungry inside. And one night we were playing in the Playboy Club in Toronto.
As you do.
And I went into the washroom and shut the door, and I said, Jesus, I can't take it anymore.
Wow.
I got on my knees over a toilet, and I said, I'm tired. I'm in pain. I've got to know if you're real. I have to know if you're real. And I said, so I'm giving you everything. Everything. You've got me.
And then what happened?
I flushed the toilet and stood up and thought, well, something's got to give here. And then someone knocked on the door and said, we're on. And I went out and played my set. And but in my life, it was like I had a hard drive reboot. It's like the Lord pulled out the hard drive and put a new one in. I began to just notice. My mother actually put a picture of me on the wall. And she said, I said, what's the deal with the picture? She said, it's the first time I've seen you smile in 7 years.
Wow.
And I just began, my life was filled. I stopped swearing and cursing. And slowly, I started reading my Bible all the time. And I had this tremendous, Jesus brought a new life that it was fantastic. Hasn't been easy moving forward, but that was a huge beginning in my life. It was like truly, I was reborn. Jesus was like this wonderful natural high. Like if you've lived 7, 8 years of degradation, Jesus is a marvelous touch. He's everything. Like he's worth everything to just maintain that relationship. Because he begins to fill you with a love. I started to embrace people I normally wouldn't embrace. I was an egotistical maniac. So if you weren't, even though I was kind of a bent up thing myself, if you weren't cool, I didn't want you in my life. And that was one of the greatest changes. I wanted to love, like I started to appreciate people in a way that only Jesus could bring into a heart. It was a heart change.
Brian, thank you so much for sharing that.